who had mulk in this world, who had dominion over things, quote unquote dominion in this material world, if they knew what was being distributed at times like this, at places like this, they would fight tooth and nail. They would fight, they would strike, they would come at you with knives, cruise missiles, whatever they could muster to get cups out of the hands of people who were serving water, to get the cookies out of the people's hands who are serving them right now. If they knew what was being distributed, they would fight for it. They would be clamoring over it. It'd be coffee everywhere because people were fighting over, right, the barakah that you get from serving one of these majalis. And so tonight, what is on the faqih's heart? Unfortunately, there's a tragic passing of 5 sisters, Somali sisters, in Minnesota. All of them being carriers of the Quran. All of them having the Quran in their chest. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have immense mercy upon them, to make their graves spacious and a place of immense bliss for them. That they reach their graves and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already started the beauty for them, inshallah. And that, inshallah, we were able to join them, inshallah, on the estimation is that those who've committed themselves to that labor of ingesting the Quran, learning the Quran, and living the Quran, that in a situation where they're nearing leaving this world, our estimation and our belief is that they would have nothing other to lean on than the Quran that is within their hearts. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the ability for them to learn, that they, inshallah, be admitted into Jannah to Firdaus, inshallah, in the highest station. And that, inshallah, all of them, their parents, that they are greeted with the crowns, as we are told. Those who memorize the Quran, your parents, right, will see a crown from those who have ingested the Quran entirely, inshallah. But their parents, when they reach the barzakh, when they reach the next plane, they see 5 crowns waiting for them, inshallah. What they call it for the ladies is a tiara, inshallah. Perhaps it's a tiara, we don't know. The nature of this world is finality. It's finality. Even if something is not, living, not ceasing to live anymore, it's still finality because everything is decomposing in a way. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he relates that what is the truest saying of any poet? The truest thing is that of Labid. What did he say? Ala kulli shay'in ma khalallahu batil. It's not anything other than Allah. It's not everything other than Allah, falsehood. What is batil? Things that are eventually, either suddenly or as time passes, it's going to wither away. We are going to wither away. The same faces that we see are going to wither away. What matters is, inshallah, our states. Our states. Abdul Rahman al-Faqir, anhu, right? Let's say a modern man or a simple man who'd been given a modern tool. They come to him and said, I have a watch for you. And he gave it to him. And after having that watch for some days, the man came back. He came and he saw the watch was just sitting there collecting dust. He said, Ya Abdul Rahman al-Faqir, we're like, why are you not using this watch? And he said, it's broken. He said, no, it's not broken. You got to wind it up. He said, I thought you gave me this to organize my time, not waste it. Right? So there are many things within this particular time that we're living in now, right, that are supposed tools for use in this life, supposed remedies for use in this particular life. And what is the matter is that those things subtly, they draw us away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Most importantly, they end up drawing us away when we need to be running towards Him the most. Right? And so I remind myself and I remind others that we find ourselves in states where we feel like I can't passively run back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I can't passively even look back towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the exact state. You are in the exact condition of one who needs to just go ahead and about face and let Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala handle the rest. Even if you find yourself the very next morning going into the same heedlessness. If you find yourself in the next afternoon going into the same heedlessness, and perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so merciful, right, that he'll rectify your affairs and you'll be in a state where you'll be accepted into Jannah to Firdaus after doing Allah knows what. After doing Allah knows what. So as Uwais al-Qarni radiallahu anhu say, he said, somebody, you come asking me how am I doing? You ask somebody how they're doing at Fajr when they don't even know if they'll live till Maghrib. You ask somebody how they're doing at Maghrib when they don't even know if they'll live till Fajr. And this is a state that we're all in. And let us not take for granted. Lastly, majalis like this. Every day, every week, you're going to have somebody get up and say, majalis like this. All the way over in Indonesia, you're going to hear people say, majalis like this. Allentown, you're going to hear people say, majalis like this. Okay, maybe it's some secret that they know. Maybe it's a secret that is known to those who understand that people come on their knees crawling, asking for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to just accept them after they've erred, to just improve them after they've been charting a course towards Him. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to tie our hearts to who? The one who navigates the best. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He is the GPS. He is the guiding star, our North Star. People from my folks, they used to look towards the North Star to be able to escape bondage and get somewhere where they can live a little bit more freely. And so Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if we are seeking to escape from the bondage of our own souls, of our own heedlessness, of our own trappings with the people we may spend time with, and we kick it and hang out, and they're literal chains on our bodies, they're chains on our hearts, there's no being Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created that is going to do the job better than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is why he is Miftahi Babi Rahmatullah. This is why he is the key to the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The minute we forget that, the minute we forego that, the minute we become ashamed of that, and we think that this is, this is a garment we wear, that's the minute that we should be gravely concerned about ourselves. We come from a people who what? Working great jobs as black folks, working in Social Security. One day I want to wear a hijab. Next 2 weeks, she out of there. How could we get to a state now where we're not able to tie ourselves to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and believe in his truth, the same truth that Labid was talking about? Allah is the truth. Whatever else these people are selling, whatever else they're presenting to us, whatever clock, like Abdurrahman bin Faqih, radiallahu anhu, are they giving, we have to be very perceptive of it, inshallah. And I went long, but in memory of those, right, who their lives ended, just shut. The case closed. Whatever their affair with Allah is, they died on what they died on. And the hope is, expectation is that what they died on was something felicitous. And inshallah, they enter into Allah's Rahma. We say peace upon Salim. We say peace upon Salim, whose noble shoulders hold the holy seal placed in between, who paved the righteous path across Sirat al-Mustaqim. Please protect the Muslimin and guard the unseen. Prayerfully, our hearts are prepared for Al-Hakim. There's a war going on outside and in between, mind, body, and soul for our deen. When Shaitan seems to be tearing at our seams, no soldier at his knees, not when Allah has raised our ummah in degrees. Through who? The one who was named as Al-Amin. Through who? The one who was bathed in the Halim. Sadiq. Name a soul more pristine. On what other noble shoulder should we lean? The destined paid our ummah holds the title and the deed, who loads a love more deep than the sower and the seed. This holy love affair between the grower and the leaf. He built the golden bridge between the knower and the need. Upon you is where heavy hearts have had to meet. Upon you is where the blessed sunnah you would leave. Upon you is where the arifin find their dreams elite. Even the drops of sweat that used to roll from his sleeve, you find the cup hands of a believer right beneath. For every single breath that his holy lungs would breathe, through and through our blessings grew exponentially. Sending salutations only broadens our degree. For every 10 salawat we say upon his final reach, Allah sends 100 with the angels counting each. Yes, Sayyidi, bless your blessed feet. Without you, every step we take is in retreat. Without you, how will the hurting souls find ease? Without you, how will the heavy hearts take heed? Ajib. Ya Allah, if you find us like the tree who sobbed in pain because our Nabi no longer leaned, let us fill earth with every tear that we will weep, because weren't we ocean deep in Jahiliyyah's waters and beneath? Who wedged the golden rope of Allah between our teeth and then pulled us by our jaws above the reef and gave us CPR before our lungs were nearly breached? Never has a surgeon done this sort of surgery and diagnosed our burden with the life that he would lead. Summun, bukmun, umyun. We repeat, we were deaf, dumb, and blind. And then we see he can author our success or we can author our defeat. Don't sleep. And on a day when none but he can intercede, and Jahannam's gaze is at our bodies with his heat, it is he who will call out, Ya ummati, my nation will tremble through his cheek like the mother who has lost her child in the street. From the very depths of his being, he will plead for the salvation of those who uttered this belief that no God but the one God there shall be. And Ibn Abdullah, last the prophecy, and for that we say peace upon Al-Amin. Allahumma salli wa sallam wa barik alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين على أمور الدنيا والدين وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Alhamdulillah, I wanted to remind the faqir first and foremost and everybody else about the importance of, inshallah, keeping good opinions and good assumptions of others. Like we recited in the poem of Imam al-Haddad rahimahullah ta'ala wa nafa'na bih, he said, وَلِحُسْنِ الظَّنِّ ulazim, meaning with good assumption, I must be acquainted with, I must be well acquainted with. And the importance of husn al-dhann, of good assumption, is something that I was reflecting upon, because truthfully, we can't ever put an opinion on another person that's absolute. We can't ever look at someone and assume that they're in a state that's lower than us in finality. Because even if someone is openly sinning, like Shaykh Abdul Karim taught us, even if someone is openly sinning, if we see that person and we assume that they're in a state of absolute destruction, we don't know if that person potentially does tawbah and repents to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah forgives him, and Allah uplifts him, and he's in a state that's higher and closer to Allah than the state that we're in. Or if someone's younger than us, we assume that they've had less time to live to commit sins that would have made them further from Allah, while we had more time to do that. Someone's older than us, we assume that they had more time to do good deeds. And I was reflecting on this, and a thing that I realized was that a lot of the time, having a negative assumption of someone roots from your own arrogance, that we want to see ourselves as better than that person, and we want to see ourselves as more on a higher pedestal than another individual. When in reality, we don't know our state. We don't know what state we'll end in. Like Sidi Tariq mentioned, that we can pass away at any moment. We don't know if we're going to make it to Fajr. And we could pass away in a sin, in a state of sin, in a state of destruction. We don't know what would happen to us. So alhamdulillah, may Allah allow us to protect ourselves from arrogance. May Allah protect us from arrogance, because arrogance isn't just خَلَقْتَنِي مِن نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِن طِينٍ. It's not just that what Iblis said to Allah when Allah asked him why he didn't bow down to Adam. He said, oh, you created me from fire and you created him from dirt. It's not just that obvious. It's not just that outward. It has a lot more subtle manifestations. So may Allah protect us from it. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وعفوا منكم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأشرفين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Alhamdulillah, I was able to recently complete the journey of Umrah, and a realization that came to me is the level of reflection that the journey of Umrah allows one to have, because it allows you to think about your last Umrah and the one you just completed. And we see people going to Mecca and Medina in abundance, and this is a blessing to be able to visit these holy sites as much as possible. And for us, a lot of people in these days, we like to track our progression by these worldly things. Like a lot of people would say that I used to make this much and now I make this much. I used to drive this car, now I drive this car. I used to hang out with so-and-so, and now I hang out with so-and-so. And when it comes to cases like this and good company like this, you can look back on our Thursday nights, for example. Me personally, a year ago, 2 years ago, my Thursday nights consisted of hanging out with terrible company, doing God knows what and God knows where. And today, I can say that my Thursday nights consist of sending salawat on the most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So good company, good company, good company.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, I just wanted to remind you all and myself, always have taqwa in Allah. He knows your situation, He knows your problems, and He knows what you're good at. So whenever you are in a situation of need, make dua that He fixes your situation. And whenever you're in a situation of ease, make dua that He keeps you in ease and that improves your situation. Assalamu alaikum.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Tonight, a reminder that I could share of benefit, inshallah, to everyone and myself. This is about Tawbah. A lot of times when people sin, it's very easy to feel a sense of distance between one and Allah. A very heart-crushing distance upon the completion of the sin. One that renders the soul wondering if one is worthy of forgiveness. It is at that precise moment, though, that those who have faith practice the art of making tawbah and sincerely believing that if they are sincere in that tawbah, they will be forgiven. So that's a reminder for myself and everyone else. Inshallah, it's a benefit. Forgive me for my shortcomings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Afwan minkum.